Hey everyone. I'm not really sure how to start this, but I need to get it off my chest. I never thought I'd be writing something like this. Honestly, I always believed I was one of the lucky ones. Married for 12 years. One son. Solid job, happy home, good neighborhood. We weren't flashy, but we were strong. Or so I thought. My wife, Leah, not her real name, and I met in college. She was smart, witty, beautiful, fiery at times, but I liked that about her. I worked in logistics. She worked part-time at a local salon so she could pick up our son from school and be around in the afternoons. We made it work. Weekends were family time. We'd have movie nights, go on little road trips, just be together. Nothing dramatic. Nothing broken. Our son, Jason, is 10 now and recently joined a youth basketball club in town. He begged us for weeks before tryouts. Leah was totally on board. She even took the lead on getting him registered, buying his gear, rearranging her schedule so she could drive him to and from practice twice a week. I was busy with work most evenings, so I appreciated her doing all that. I thought we were a team. The coach, Mark, was a young guy in his early 30s. Tall, athletic, that typical, cool coach type who's good with kids and somehow always makes moms giggle. Leah mentioned him casually in the beginning, said he was good at motivating the boys and had discipline. She started telling Jason to listen to Coach Mark and do what Coach says, even at home, which felt weird but I brushed it off. Then she started dressing differently. Not outrageous, but more effort than usual. Tight yoga pants. Lip gloss for basketball practice. She'd joke about just being one of those moms, and I laughed along because, again, I trusted her. We had our ups and downs like any couple, but cheating. That wasn't Leah. Or so I convinced myself. There were subtle changes. She'd stay longer at practices, talking to the other parents. Sometimes I'd come home and Jason would say Mom went to get him ice cream with Coach Mark and his son. I asked Leah, and she casually brushed it off, oh yeah, his son's on the team too, relax, it was just a quick stop. She always had an answer. I didn't think I was being paranoid. But there were moments. Small things. Slippery things. The kind of details you only notice in hindsight. I told myself I was imagining it. I wasn't. It started with her phone. Leah used to be the kind of person who left her phone anywhere. Kitchen counter, bathroom sink, car seat, you name it. Suddenly, it was glued to her hand. Or hidden. Always face down. Always locked. I'd catch her glancing at it, smiling to herself, then quickly changing the screen when I walked by. When I asked what was funny, she'd shrug and say, nothing, or just one of the group chats. Another thing. She started taking longer to run errands. What used to be a quick 30-minute grocery run turned into 2 hours. Her excuse. The store was packed, or I ran into a friend. She even started going to the gym again, something she hadn't done in years, and apparently, Mark recommended the place because he trains there too. I asked her if that was weird, and she just laughed. God, you're so insecure lately. I'll be honest, I started to doubt myself. I'm not some over-controlling jealous husband. I never told her what to wear or who to talk to. But I could feel it. The energy. Something was off. Then Jason mentioned something that made my skin crawl. Coach Mark picked me up for practice today. Mom said you were busy. I blinked. Wait, what? Yeah, he was driving by and she said he could take me. She came later. I didn't remember her telling me any of that. When I brought it up, she acted like it was no big deal. It was just convenient. I was late getting back from the salon. Letting another man, especially one I barely knew, drive our son without discussing it with me. That didn't sit right. She gaslit me for bringing it up. Said I was being dramatic. Why don't you try getting involved more instead of always judging? That was her new favorite line. Twisting it around. Making me feel like I was the one who was pulling away. Then came the day I picked Jason up from practice because Leah said she had a headache and needed to lie down. Mark came up to me all friendly, full of casual jokes and compliments. Leah's got great energy. Really loves watching Jason play. It was the way he said it. Not what he said, but how. Like he knew something I didn't. Like we were sharing something, only I wasn't in on the joke. That was the first time I really let the thought in, something is happening. Something real. I still didn't want to believe it, but I couldn't unsee it anymore. I wasn't looking for anything. I want to make that clear. I never wanted to be the guy snooping through his wife's phone. I believed in privacy. In trust. But after everything, the secrecy, the weird behavior, the unexplained errands, the phone that never left her hand, I started feeling like I didn't have a choice. One evening, Leah was in the shower. Her phone was charging on the nightstand, still face down like always. I don't know what got into me. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was desperation. But I picked it up. Locked. I watched her type the passcode the day before, just a glance. I tried it. It opened. What I saw still makes my stomach twist. There was a chat labeled, Coach Basketball. My heart dropped. I opened it. At first, it was small talk. Harmless stuff. Jokes about the kids, funny memes. Then I scrolled up further, and that's when the pit in my stomach became a full-body nausea. There were flirty texts, "You're the only reason I enjoy practice, wish I could see you alone, can't stop thinking about Sunday." What happened on Sunday? I didn't want to know. But of course, I had to know. I kept scrolling. Photos. Some were innocent enough, selfies of her in the car, after the gym. But there were others. Riskier ones. Bathroom mirror pics. Her in those tight yoga pants, arching her back. One where she's clearly in his car, leaning over the seat with her hair tied up and a smirk on her face. And the worst part? She wasn't even hiding it. No code names, no attempts to delete the thread. Like she didn't think I'd ever dare look. I didn't say anything that night. I put her phone back and just sat there. She came out of the shower, smiled, kissed me on the cheek, and asked if I wanted tea. I told her I was tired. I lay awake all night, staring at the ceiling, my heart pounding. I felt sick. Betrayed. Numb. The next day, I called in sick to work. I drove to the gym where she said she'd be and parked far enough not to be seen. Sure enough, around noon, she arrived. 10 minutes later, Mark pulled up in his black SUV. She got in. They didn't even bother going inside. They drove off. And that's when something in me broke. I wish I could say I kept my cool. I didn't. That day felt like it lasted a week. I waited. Pacing. Replaying everything I saw and everything I knew in my head until I thought I'd go insane. I didn't want to explode in front of Jason. I didn't want to make a scene. But I also couldn't pretend anymore. When Leah got home, she acted like nothing had happened. Hair tied up. Fresh makeup. A smoothie in hand. "Hey babe," she said, like we were still good. Like she hadn't just spent her afternoon sneaking around in another man's car. I told Jason to go to his room and put on his headphones. Then I just said it. "I know. About you and Mark." Her face changed instantly. Not scared. Not ashamed. Just, blank. Calculating. "What are you talking about?" she said, like a reflex. Like she was already in damage control mode. I told her I saw the messages. That I knew about the gym, the SUV, the photos. She went from denial to offense in seconds. You went through my phone. Are you serious right now? That's such a violation. That was her tactic, deflect and accuse. Twist it so I'd be the one apologizing. But I didn't budge. I told her I saw enough. That I knew they weren't just talking. That I knew she'd been lying for weeks, maybe longer. Her tone changed then. Cold. Cruel, even. Fine, she said. If you already made up your mind, what's the point? It's not like things have been great between us anyway. I was stunned. Not even an apology. Not even fake remorse. Just an excuse. A rewrite of history. I reminded her that we were raising a child. That Jason adored her. That he idolized his coach. That he'd be destroyed if he knew what she was doing behind our backs. She rolled her eyes. Oh, please. Don't make this about Jason. This is about us. You've been emotionally unavailable for years. You never make me feel seen. Mark actually listens to me. That hurt more than anything. Not because it was true, but because it was rehearsed. Like she'd been preparing that line. Just waiting to use it. She didn't cry. She didn't beg. She barely looked at me. It was like I didn't matter anymore. Like I was already gone. After that confrontation, everything spiraled fast. The next morning, Leah was already up, dressed, and sipping coffee at the table like nothing had happened. No apology. No follow-up. She didn't even ask if I'd slept. I hadn't. She just scrolled through her phone like it was a normal Thursday. I dropped Jason off at school. He was chatty, excited about an upcoming game. He said Coach Mark told him he had great potential. My chest tightened. I nodded, smiled weakly, and told him to keep doing his best. The innocence in his voice cut deeper than anything Leah had said. Later that day, I came home early from work and found her packing a small bag. Going somewhere? I asked, knowing full well she wasn't taking a weekend spa trip. She didn't even flinch. I'm staying with my sister for a bit. We both need space. Her sister lived on the other side of town, and I knew they hadn't been close in years. I almost laughed. You mean you're staying with Mark? She didn't respond. Just zipped up her bag and threw her toothbrush in. I didn't stop her. I didn't yell. I just stood there like a fool, wondering how the woman I built a life with could be so cold, so detached. I thought I'd seen every side of her, but this? This was someone else. She left that night. Didn't kiss Jason goodbye, didn't give me a timeline, didn't even take her wedding ring. She just vanished. The next few days were a mess. Jason kept asking when Mom was coming home. I told him she was visiting Aunt Rachel, but I could tell he didn't buy it. He kept looking out the window during dinner. Kept checking his phone like maybe she'd text him. I did my best to hold it together. Made him breakfast, helped with homework, kept up that everything's fine act. But inside, I was crumbling. Not just from the betrayal, but from the emptiness. The silence where a marriage used to be. At night, I'd lie awake replaying everything. Every moment I'd trusted her. Every time I defended her quirks. Every time I turned a blind eye and told myself she'd never do something like this. I started to realize something painful. Leah wasn't sorry. She didn't accidentally fall into an affair. She walked into it. Smiling. Eyes open. And now she was walking away from us like we were just inconvenient. And Coach Mark? He got to keep his job. His team. My son's admiration. At least for now. I wasn't looking to get revenge. I wasn't trying to blow up her life. But life has a way of dragging the truth out, especially when you lie as badly as Leah does. A week after she left, things were eerily quiet. Jason had started to adapt, though he clearly missed her. I caught him one night trying to call her, sitting on the stairs in his pajamas. She didn't answer. He told me he just wanted to say goodnight. That moment broke something in me. But karma? It showed up faster than I expected. That Saturday, Jason had a home game. I brought him early, grabbed a seat in the bleachers, tried to be the enthusiastic dad despite everything inside me boiling. Mark walked in late. Same smug face. Same swagger. But this time, he didn't make eye contact. Not with me. Not even with Jason. Leah wasn't there. Weird. She never missed a game. Not once. After the game, one of the other parents, a chatty mom named Denise, came up to me and said, "Hey, where's Leah? I thought she and Coach were joined at the hip these days." I froze. "What do you mean?" She laughed, sipping her iced coffee. "Oh come on, everyone's been whispering. The way she follows him around like a schoolgirl." I figured they made it official. It took everything in me not to show how sick that made me feel. Later that night, I did something I never thought I'd do. I logged into Leah's old laptop. She hadn't used it in months, probably forgot it even existed. But it still had her email open. I wasn't looking for proof anymore, I had that. I was looking for clarity. For the full picture. What I found wasn't just messages to Mark, it was confirmation that she had been emotionally cheating on me for months before anything physical happened. There were emails to a friend, talking about how alive Mark made her feel, how she never felt seen until him, how Jason's practices are the best part of her week. She wasn't just cheating on me. She was romanticizing it. Justifying it. Telling herself she deserved it. But the real kicker? There were screenshots in her photos folder, texts from Mark to another woman. Someone named Jess. One message read, "Leah's getting too intense. I told her we should cool it but she's obsessed." Another, "She wants me to leave town with her. I'm not trying to raise someone else's kid." I sat there for a long time. She wasn't just lying to me. She was being played by him too. I stared at the screen for what felt like hours. So this was it. She threw away our marriage, our family, our son's trust, for a guy who was texting other women behind her back, mocking her for getting too intense. I should have felt vindicated, maybe even smug. But all I felt was shame. Shame that I ever believed in her. Shame that she let herself become someone like this. And most of all, shame that Jason was caught in the middle. I didn't confront her right away. Not yet. I wanted to see how far she'd let the charade go. If she'd come crawling back. If she'd ever admit that the new beginning she chased was already rotting at the edges. The answer came 2 days later. She showed up at the house out of nowhere. I opened the door and saw her standing there with her hair in a messy bun, no makeup, wearing the same hoodie she used to wear on lazy Sundays. She looked small. Hollow. "I need to talk," she said. I let her in. Not because I owed her anything, but because I wanted to hear the lie she'd come up with this time. She sat on the couch and said, "Things with Mark, it's not what I thought it would be." I stayed silent. She looked at me like she expected sympathy. "He's not who I thought he was. He's immature. Unstable. He's seeing someone else, I think." I could barely keep the disgust off my face. "You threw away our marriage for this guy, and you're just figuring that out now?" She had the audacity to cry. Cry. As if she was the victim. I was confused, she whispered. I didn't feel seen in our relationship. He made me feel alive again. I finally snapped. "And what about Jason? You felt so alive sneaking around behind his back. Letting him bond with a man who was sleeping with his mom and trash-talking her to another woman." Her face turned white. "What are you talking about?" I handed her a printout of the screenshots I'd taken. Watched her eyes move across the page as the truth smacked her in the face. She looked up. You went through my... No, I cut her off. Don't even start. Don't you dare play the victim now. She had nothing to say after that. She just sat there, broken and quiet, for once without an excuse ready. I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I just stood up and said, you need to leave. She did. And I didn't watch her go this time. After she walked out that day, something shifted. Not just in the house, but in me. I didn't feel peace, exactly. Just a strange kind of stillness. The storm had passed. And now came the aftermath. Jason didn't ask where she went this time. Maybe he already knew something was off. Maybe he was just done hoping. I tried to keep things normal, helped with homework, packed his lunches, played catch in the yard. But it was different. He laughed less. He avoided certain topics. When he did talk about basketball, he didn't mention Coach Mark at all. I wondered if he suspected something. Or if he had seen or overheard more than I realized. Kids are sharper than we give them credit for. Then came the call from the basketball club. They asked if we could come in to discuss Jason's placement on the team. That's when the final twist landed. Apparently, other parents had started complaining. Whispers about Leah and Mark had spread. One parent claimed to have seen them kissing in the parking lot. Another said Mark was playing favorites with Jason. It didn't help that Jason was now distracted, distant on the court. The head of the program didn't say it outright, but the message was clear. They were phasing Mark out quietly and offering Jason a spot with a new coach, if we were okay with that. I said yes, of course. Mark could rot for all I cared. Leah, to no one's surprise, didn't fight it. She sent a short, impersonal message saying she was stepping back from basketball and focusing on herself. She hadn't asked to see Jason in over a week. No texts. No calls. No effort. I sat Jason down that night. Told him that sometimes, adults make selfish choices that hurt people, even if they don't mean to. That his mom still loved him in her own way, but she was confused right now. That none of this was his fault. He just nodded. Quiet. Then asked, are we gonna be okay? And without hesitation, I told him, yeah. We are. I didn't say it to comfort him. I said it because I meant it. It had been almost 3 weeks since Leah left. 3 weeks of silence. No messages, no calls, just a ghost of the woman who once slept next to me every night. I was beginning to accept that this was who she had become, selfish, impulsive, cowardly. I told myself I didn't need closure. That I didn't need her to say sorry. But the truth is, I wanted it. Even if it wouldn't fix anything. Then, out of nowhere, she showed up again. It was a Sunday afternoon. Jason was at a friend's house. I was cleaning out the garage, trying to keep my mind and hands busy. I heard her car pull in behind me. I didn't turn around. Just kept wiping dust off an old toolbox, pretending I hadn't noticed. She stood there for a moment before finally speaking. I owe you an apology. No dramatic entrance. No self-righteous energy. Her voice was low, cracked. She looked tired. Pale. Like someone who'd been living on bad decisions and regret. I didn't respond right away. Just nodded once and let her talk. I thought I was chasing something better. I thought I was stuck in that Mark, that he understood me. She paused. He didn't. He used me. I don't even think he liked me, not really. And when I realized that, it was already too late. I wanted to ask her why. Why she didn't just talk to me. Why she let everything fall apart instead of trying to fix it. But I already knew the answer, because it was easier. Because selfish people don't look back until their path forward disappears. I'm sorry for what I did to you, she continued. To us. And to Jason. I've ruined so much. This time, I looked at her. You didn't just ruin it, I said calmly. You chose to burn it down. And now you're standing in the ashes hoping someone else will hand you a bucket. She nodded. Took it. For once, she didn't argue. I know, she whispered. I'm not asking for anything. I just needed to say it. I didn't forgive her. Not then. Maybe not ever. But I appreciated that, for once, she faced what she'd done without spinning it into a lie. She left quietly. This time, without the smugness. Without the performance. Just a broken woman who finally realized she couldn't outrun herself. And me? I didn't feel relief. I felt finished. After Leah's apology, I expected to feel something, maybe peace, maybe rage, maybe the closure people always talk about in books and movies. But mostly, I just felt tired. Tired of the pretending. Tired of protecting someone who clearly never protected me. Tired of explaining to Jason why things looked normal when they weren't. The next few days were quiet again. She didn't come back. She didn't ask to visit Jason. I think, deep down, she knew that bridge was ash now. She tried once to text me, saying she wanted to co-parent with respect and build trust again, but it read like a copy-paste quote from some self-help article. I didn't even respond. I sat with a lawyer. Not to punish her, but to finally end it. Divorce. Full custody of Jason, with supervised visitation. I had text records, screenshots, timelines, everything to show her choices weren't just morally wrong but reckless, especially involving our son and the man she chose. The lawyer said it would likely be a smooth process. Leah didn't contest anything. I guess Mark wasn't worth fighting for anymore. When I told Jason that Mom and Dad weren't going to live together again, he just nodded. He asked if it was because of the stuff with Coach Mark. I froze. You knew. He shrugged. I heard you two arguing. And Mom was always weird around him. I'm not stupid, Dad. That stung more than anything else. I told him the truth, at least the version a 10-year-old could handle. That adults sometimes mess up. That it's okay to be angry. That what happened had nothing to do with him. He just asked, are we still a team? I looked him right in the eye and said, always. We moved into a smaller place shortly after, something modest, but ours. I sold the dining table Leah picked out. Donated her favorite couch. Painted the walls a different color. I didn't want to live in the same house that held so many ghosts. I wanted Jason and me to start fresh. For real. We went to his next game together, sat in the bleachers, and cheered like nothing else in the world mattered. He scored 2 baskets. He ran up to me afterward and said, "Did you see that?" I smiled. Every second of it. It wasn't a perfect life. But it was honest. And that made all the difference. It's been a few months now. The divorce is finalized. Jason's doing better, still has tough days, but he's more open, more present. I think in a strange way, he's relieved the tension is gone. No more weird energy in the house. No more pretending moms, just busy. Just the two of us, figuring things out one step at a time. Leah still floats around the edges. She sends the occasional text. She says she's in therapy. Says she wants to be a better version of herself for Jason. I support that from a distance. But I don't trust her. Not anymore. Trust isn't something you can glue back together once someone's shattered it and danced on the pieces. As for Mark. Word is he's no longer coaching. A few parents apparently complained formally after Leah's stunt. He disappeared from the scene like a roach when the lights come on. Good riddance. And me? I'm not angry anymore. I've gone through the fire, humiliation, heartbreak, sleepless nights, self-doubt. I questioned everything about who I was as a husband, a father, a man. But in all of it, I held on to one thing, my son. And that became my anchor. That, and the realization that no matter how strong a relationship looks on the outside, it can rot quietly from within if one person stops showing up. If you're reading this and going through something similar, listen to that voice inside you. The one that senses when something's off. Don't ignore it. Don't gaslight yourself. And if you find yourself betrayed, don't blame yourself for someone else's cowardice. Healing is slow. Some days it feels like progress. Other days it feels like you're drowning in memories. But it gets better. I promise. You'll find strength in the rubble. You'll learn who really matters. And you'll realize, you never needed someone who made you feel small just to feel seen. Thanks for reading. Stay strong. Op. End.